Hey, what's up everyone? So today I'm going to be doing a quick review of the Squidtrainer version 3.5. I had already done one of these that was a little bit more detailed, but something happened with my GoPro and, well, actually what happened was I shot it in 4K like a fucking idiot and had too many problems uploading it. So I'm going to redo it, and it's just going to be, same information, just kind of a little bit quicker, hopefully. I always say that and then it's not. But yeah, so I picked this up a couple weeks ago when they did their drop for, their weekly drop. And I got it in the mail when I got my Triton back. I had to send my Triton in. There was some issues with burrs that were left where the pivots sit during the machining process. And I didn't want to remove the material. It was causing one of the pivots to bind and constantly back out. So I didn't want to remove the material and then have it not solve the problem and then have them blame me for it. So what I ended up doing was just, sending it in for service, letting them know what was going on. They took care of it. By the time I got it back is when I got this in the mail. And this is all somewhat relevant. So anyway, when I open this up, the first thing that I notice, and this is the only real complaint that I have about this, is that the handles are two different shades of red. And I already know what happened. I can just tell by looking at it. When you anodize anything, you have to anodize in batches because the batches are going to be a slightly different shade. So if you anodize, 24 handles, you're going to get, 12 trainers out of that. So you're going to want to keep all of those handles together and then assemble them together. If you start mixing and matching anodized batches, then you're going to get slightly different shades, which is what happened here. So when I saw that, I was kind of like, what the fuck? And at that point, I messaged Lucas from Squid on Facebook directly and just kind of told him everything that had happened with the Triton and that I had just gotten it back. And then I bought this Squidtrainer, and then, now this had this went out the door like this and blah, 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 blah. I wasn't a dick, but at the same time, I was just like, what the fuck? So, he was a really nice guy. He really tried to make it right every which way he could. And, offering for me to send it back on his dime and swap out the handles personally and all this stuff. And I didn't want to send it back because it was, at that point, to me, it was just aesthetics. So, while it is an issue, because I did pay, close to that $200 range for this thing, it's not that big of a deal for me to send it back because we all know that these handles are going to get dinged up and scratched and all that kind of stuff anyway. So it's just the principle of it. Bad QC, might be, bad ano one day, but the next day it could be, like in the case with my Triton where it wasn't deburred properly and they actually Cerakoted over the burrs, which is just, it shows that it multiple times it was looked at and it was missed. But, everybody's, we're all human. We make mistakes. It's what's important is how they handle it. And he really did try to make this right. And what he ended up doing was just, offering me a discount code on my next purchase, which was really nice of him. Cause I didn't want to deal with having to send it in, time is money for me and just like everybody else. So, getting into the review real quick, this thing flips great. It's very handle heavy, obviously. It is a channel design over a sandwich design, but I haven't really had any issues with it other than just kind of having to adapt how I would do aerials. Aerials on things like the Mako and fanning on the Mako are going to be a lot easier just because it is a sandwich design and it's a lot lighter. So at this, it kind of, because it is fairly heavy, it did throw my timing off a little bit on the aerials and things like that. But I've gotten used to it now. It's not a big deal. But that's kind of why I like having multiple trainers is, I have a whole slew of bollies. So each one's going to be a different size, a different weight. It's some might run on bearings, some bushings, all that kind of stuff matters. And so when you're transitioning from a trainer to a bolly and you have like your set and your combo kind of lined up, you want it to be as smooth as a transition as possible as you can. And if you have the means to get multiple trainers to kind of match up with your volleys, then it is a great strategy, and you're able to learn fairly quickly without having to invest a ton of time. There's people out there that they can only work with something like a squiddy, or I've seen kids are gluing Legos together and making flippers out of those. Whatever you do what you got to do. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have the money to spend, it is worth either getting multiple trainers or getting something that's going to be close to whatever volley you think you're going to end up with, or in that kind of group. A lot of people like the BRS. Those are all going to be fairly similar, just like a lot of the Benchmades and all that, as far as size and weight. So, you just kind of want to get your trainer lined up with that, and then, it's a little bit easier to transition. Flipping, this thing's great. Rollovers are great, like I said. I haven't had any issues with it other than just the aesthetics on the handles. But yeah, if you have been looking at these, I would definitely recommend it. It's a little bit higher up on the price point, but you're definitely getting a little bit more. I think there's a little bit more precision that goes into these. I really like the knurling on the handles. That was a nice touch, rather than just doing the smooth Cerakote like they have done on the Triton and the Mako. But yeah, I say go for it. If I were to compare this to the Glider 4, this thing definitely, it's a little bit more money, obviously, but they're pretty similar as far as size and weight and, design and all that. And this thing blows it out of the water. It really does. And, there isn't any that weird clanky, clacky bullshit that you get with the Glider. I'm not saying anything is wrong with the Glider. I did a video on it, and it's not bad by any means, but it does have its issues. This thing, the only issue is just the color. So, I say go for it. Squid is very, well known at this point. If you're watching this, you already know what's up. So, I say check it out, and hopefully your fucking handles, match when you get them. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and drop them below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And take care.